Good afternoon. I'm going to not be unapologetic for shamelessly just bragging about our district for a little bit because I think it's important. It's not, and for those of you in the room who deal with a lot of politics in your district, which is probably everybody here, you know that oftentimes, especially in public education, it's not sexy in the media unless it's negative. And we get our fair share of that, but we don't get enough of the celebrations of the really amazing work that's happening with our teachers and our students. So I really want to, I'd be remiss if I don't acknowledge our fellows from Chicago and just really say how much we value and appreciate everything that you do for Chicago's children. They have really had an unwavering commitment to this work. Everyone knows the challenges that we've faced over the years in Chicago. And so we've been participating in Y&I for the last 10 years. And you need to know that that has been through 6 or 7 CEOs and not a whole lot of district support in terms of getting teachers involved, and the fellows have kept this thing afloat. So thank you to the teachers and their hard work. The ride over here was about an hour, Jim, and from the airport. And in Chicago, we're used to 15 minutes. But on that ride, I was talking to one of our teachers, and as she talked to me about the process just for the application process and getting teachers involved, and I asked her, I said, well, are you guys getting a stipend from the district? And she's like, no, we just love this work. And I think all of the little hairs on my arm just stood up because it's that kind of passion and drive that we need to see permeating throughout our district. So when we ask the question of why, for us in Chicago, it's really a moral imperative. In our vision in our district, we talk about college and career and civic life, which I don't know if there's ever been a time that civic engagement was more important for our young people than now. But to realize that vision, we also say that every child in every neighborhood. And so that means we have to have really high quality, robust teaching, educational practices in our schools and access to curriculum. So some of the things in our vision that we call out is one, access, equity and access, equity in excellence, because access is not enough, right? And the third being student voice, all three which are captured in the work that's happening in Y&I. So for us as a district, that's why this is so important, because we need to make sure when we talk about equity in excellence, we're looking at a district that is 646 schools, 380,000 students. 80% of our student population is African American and Hispanic, with Hispanic trending towards being the majority right now. And that's the population that's most vulnerable with what's happening in our country today. 80% of our population also economically disadvantaged. So when you think about those numbers, and we have been growing in leaps and bounds, and I'm really proud, and that's why I said I'm unapologetic, because I'm a product of Chicago Public Schools, so it's personal for me. Our graduation rate has soared. We're up to about 77%, which at one point we were in the low 50s. Our freshmen on track is at 87% right now. We've decreased suspensions by 67% with our social emotional learning platform and initiative that we've engaged the entire district in to make sure that our African American male students and Latino students are not disproportionately being suspended and out of school and missing instruction. So we've put some really strong initiatives in place, and I'm really excited about that. Our college enrollment is up to about 56%, which it's come a long way. But what's more alarming is persistence, right? So it's not enough for students to just access college. They have to be able to persist. And in order for them to thrive on a college campus, that requires that they engage in rigorous coursework and curriculum and instruction in the classrooms that they're in Chicago. And so that's the equity and excellence piece that this work really speaks to. When I looked at just the displays, listened to the students, listen to the teachers talk about their units, and all I could sit and think on yesterday was, I want every student in Chicago Public Schools to experience the teaching that's happening in the classroom of the fellows. And so it is a moral imperative for us to get a local institute in Chicago so that we really can realize this vision of equity and excellence. Because it is our students' right to have access to high quality, robust curriculum and instruction in every single classroom, regardless of what neighborhood you're in. And so we have outlined some steps here. And Jim doesn't know this yet, but he'll find out shortly that he has some homework in our plan, which I hope he'll appreciate. So we had a really great conversation as far as re-engaging the fellows. So we have the three committees that we want to form. One, re-engaging prior and current fellows to support not just the planning of a local institute, but to support the sustainability of a local institute. So in every aspect, all the way from the coordination and building and sustaining the institute we want. We have about 40 fellows right now. And so doing that, and then we want to hit the ground with two committees, an outreach committee for the universities, and then a committee that's going to organize an informational session for potential university partners, as well as site visits. Because I think for me, Brandon has been on my heels, one of our teacher fellows, since I took office. And I've been with CPS for 20 years, but I've taken the chief officer role for teaching and learning last year. And the first order of business when I got in the door was to meet with Brandon about the fellowship. And so I really appreciated that, but there was nothing like experiencing the 2 days here. And I want to echo my colleagues. It has just been so invigorating, and it has just given me a charge that I will relentlessly pursue to make sure that all of our students are able to, more of our students are able to access this type of opportunity. And so we have some sessions that were informational sessions that we're planning to take place no later than February 24th. As soon as we get back, we already have one partner, that university partner, that is really highly interested, which is Loyola. And so the teacher fellows have done all of the groundwork and really laid the foundation in getting the universities on board. And so now it's time for the district to stand up and really support that. And so I'll be meeting with Loyola to talk to them about the potential partnership. But I want to make sure that we don't put all of our eggs in one basket. So we're also going to be doing some outreach to Northwestern, because there was some interest there a few years ago. So we want to re-engage them. So those are the two first orders of business that will happen before November 20th. And then the fellows have already began to aggregate a list of faculty at Northwestern, because we know we already have interest from Loyola. I want them to really own this, and they have, and I want them to continue to do that. So they'll be doing the outreach to faculty to get faculty to come out to an informational session. We're looking for, here's Jim's homework. So Jim is going to help us by giving us some connections with Northwestern. We also are looking to have a list of Yale alum that are currently either faculty possibly at Northwestern that could be potentially invited to the informational session. And so we want to be able to do that. And then we're also going to have a pitch deck. So the fellows are going to build out a deck that really just gives all of the history of Y&I and CPS and the fellows that have participated, a lot of the data, the demographics that the schools that have been impacted, so that we can get in front of our foundations that have supported us along the way. The beauty of this all is that we have a really strong ecosystem in Chicago where, as we've experienced our financial crisis over the last 3 or 4 years, we've had our businesses and many of our foundations have really stepped up and supported the district. And so we already have quite a few funders that are really interested in supporting the teacher leadership and professional development work. So we're planning to re-engage them, and we want to put together a proposal for that. So I think we have a really strong plan. We have milestones, we have due dates. And so Jim noticed that your due date is quickly approaching. So I think that if we carry out, once we carry out all of the milestones that I've outlined here, we will be ready to submit an application for a local institute by September. Thank you.